Hyundai has launched the updated Alcazar for a price of 14.99 lakh for the turbo petrol and 15.99 lakh for the diesel. Now, while there are no mechanical changes, there have been some significant ones on the outside and on the inside, a lot to the features list as well. So let's quickly find out what all is new. Now, when it comes to the design, you have the front that looks a lot like the Creta, but there are some significant changes here too. You have these H pattern LED DRLs. You have a DRL running through the width of the car. Low down, the bumper and the grille are also slightly different. You have this brushed aluminum look to the lower part of the bumper, which adds a bit more muscle and makes it look like a nice big car. Up top, the bonnet has defined creases that gives it a nice look as well. So overall, even though it looks a lot like the Creta, in person, there are a lot of changes. Over to the side, you will see the new change, which are the 18-inch wheels. Now, they're still 18 inches, the same one as we had before, but the design is completely new. But these grooves, as you can see, the lines on the side of the car, the shoulder line and the belt line have been retained from the older car. The other new bit are, of course, the roof rails. And at the rear, the edge theme continues where you have these vertical LED tail lamps, but then there is also a horizontal LED strip that runs to the width of the car, and combined, it gives it that edge look. Up top, you have some silver material. It's a nice element. You have some grooves in here as well, purely aesthetics, not really functional. Low down, you have the bumper. Again, a lot of silver used to add a bit more muscle. And of course, it's not real metal. Overall, it's not a bad design. It really is a complete departure from the previous gen car, and it definitely is something that won't confuse you. It doesn't look like a Creta from the rear, even though it looks a bit from the front. Now into the updated Hyundai Alcazar, and once in here, it has a lot of familiarity to the Creta, but obviously you have some signature Alcazar bits. The first being this color tone. You have this beige and navy blue that blends in really well together. In person, looks quite nice. You of course then have the seats that are new. Cushioning is different, contouring is different, and of course you have ventilation for both driver and passenger, electric adjust for both driver and passenger, and two memory functions for the driver's seat as well. The two 10.25-inch screens continue, the instrument cluster and the touchscreen, but below that, below the touchscreen, if you look, you have a new panel. Now, like on the Creta, which gets physical buttons, this one is slightly different. You have haptic buttons, and it has a bit of a guidance line as well, but overall, it still is on a glossy panel. So reflections are going to be a bit of an issue. Fingerprints are going to be an issue as well. And it's not as user-friendly as physical buttons on the Creta, but you still add that premium factor when you don't have those buttons, that look a bit offset. Below that, you have charging options, a USB-A port, a Type-C port, wireless charging. Of course, your drive and traction control, ventilated seats are on the center panel, which has a nice aluminum feel to it. And overall, the look is of a premium SUV, and it definitely feels like one of Hyundai's expensive cars. Now, the calling card of the Alcazar has always been carrying people in the backseat. So let's quickly find out what that's like. Now, in the backseat of the updated Hyundai Alcazar, things are not too different. You see the same layout. You have these trays to keep your laptop on and work. You have some vents in the back. But what's changed are the seats. Now, there's a difference in terms of the cushioning. They are contoured as well. You see these headrests also get these winglets to keep your head from nodding about on drives. And if you remember, the older car had a center console here. That has been removed now. So access to the third row is a lot easier. You can just basically walk from the center, and you also have individual armrests for the rear passengers. Speaking of rear passengers, they also get ventilation, which is obviously a very, very good touch. And in terms of equipment, you have two Type-C ports, some space to keep your phone, and it's also a wireless charger. So a lot to do back here. Panoramic sunroof, obviously part of the package. And overall, it is really, really comfortable. If you want to add more space, all you need to do is just slide this behind. So the seats can be moved behind and forward, and of course, the recline is possible as well. And you also have these extensions for the under thigh support. Powering the updated Alcazar are two engine options, a turbo petrol and a diesel. The same 160 horsepower 1.5 turbo petrol that you also see on the Hyundai Creta and the Verna. And of course, the 116 horsepower diesel. The diesel gets a 6-speed manual and a 6-speed automatic, while the turbo petrol gets a 6-speed manual and a 7-speed DCT. That is the updated Hyundai Alcazar. Do let us know down in the comments what you think of the new design, the new features, and the price as well.